Hey everyone, Josh Galvin with Tizish.com. On this video, I'm going to explain the concept called link velocity. And before I begin though, this is very closely related. I mean, it's pretty much completely related to the whole concept of what is your link profile. Alright, so if you're watching this video, then for sure watch the video I did on what is a link profile. So that way you could understand them both together, because they both come hand in hand. Alright, you can't talk link velocity without talking link profile and vice versa. Alright, so be sure to check that one out. So anyhow, what is linking velocity? And basically it's exactly what the words say, but here's what it means. It's the speed at which you acquire your links. Okay, and that's the definition. Now the whole point is, so what, right? So how does the speed at which you acquire your links affect your ranking? Alright, and here's exactly how. Basically, your website has to look like it's growing naturally in Google. Okay, if you want it to actually achieve a top ranking relatively fast. And when I say relatively fast, I'm talking 6 months, 9 months, or a year. Even 15 months can be relatively fast depending on what keyword you're trying to get ranking for and how competitive it is. Alright, but one of the biggest and most important things that could help you accelerate that process of dominating your #1 page ranking is the linking velocity. Alright, meaning how fast do you acquire links, and not just how fast, it's the following: how fast and what's the scale. Picture it like a stock chart. Alright, like a good stock. What does a good stock chart look like? And I think you might be seeing me doing this opposite, but basically here's the whole point. Alright, the good stock goes up, right? It goes from bottom left to top right. And on the video it might give me a mirror image, so I'm not psycho when you see me doing wrong sides with my arms. But basically it goes in an up pattern, right? Now, does a stock ever go straight up, or is it always like up, down, but always consistently moving up, right? It's always doing the up, down, but moving up, if we're talking about a good stock, right? So picture that pattern being the number of links you get. So instead of hitting a new stock value, you hit a new link number, right? And then how fast did you go from one position to the next position? So if you had 20 links and it took you 1 week to get 20 links, and then all of a sudden you get 50 links and it took you 3 days from that point on to the next, then how does that affect your SEO? That's what linking velocity is, meaning what is all the little patterns. Alright, so now let's go into the actual things that make up link velocity. Alright, I'm jumping all over the place, but this is a hard concept to explain in even 15 minutes. Alright, so this is not about to be 15 minutes, I hope. But basically, here's some factors to look at. #1, the speed at which you acquire your links. And this is from the moment your site starts. Okay, you had to understand that. From the moment your website starts, alright? How fast you acquire your links. That's the first thing. And then #2, what's like the difference in the number of links you gain at any given moment. Meaning, if you gained 20 links and it took you a week, and then you gain, when's the next time it doubles, which would be 40 links? How long was that time frame? Alright, was that also 1 week? Or was it 2 days all of a sudden? Or was it 3 months all of a sudden? Right? So that's the other item. The time frame between link periods, meaning from 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 100, 100 to 300. What was the time frames between those? That's another important thing, alright? And then, by the way, I'm going to go over tips, meaning what actually is the good versions of this, what's bad ways of this, alright? And I'm going to explain what most agents do and do wrong, or do good and do wrong. Alright, so understanding that, those two factors are the most important. And then the third one is, overall, what is and this word's kind of hard to explain. The third one is, overall, what is the total number of links at any one given chunk that you're receiving, okay? And this is all so closely related. So let's just re-round this up. All right, #1, your linking velocity is made up of 3 things. #1, and this isn't an exact science. Bear with me. Remember that. What I'm saying right now may have exceptions to someone else's site depending on different circumstances, which I'm going to try to cover. All right, but this is still general good knowledge you could run with. But basically, the first thing with link velocity, let's review them before we go into what makes them good, what makes bad linking velocity, and what makes up bad link profiles. All right. #1 was the speed at which you get one link, or a group of links, right? And then number 2 was the speed between different links, meaning I have 20 links and it took 1 week to get there, and then I get 20 more, and what's the time it took me to get there, right? And then now the number 3 is the number of links that you get between given little chunks, meaning did you get 20 links one time and then all of a sudden 1 week passed and then you got 20 more or 50 more, whatever number more, that's the third thing, all right? So given with that, here's general patterns, or here's general things you should be aware of with your linking profile when it comes to linking velocity, all right? Okay, it froze a little bit right there, but let's resume. So anyhow, given those 3 items, here's some tips in general that you need to understand about linking velocity, all right? A quick tip is the number 1 protector against your linking profile and your linking velocity is the creation of content, all right? And here's what I mean by that. A lot of agents try to do SEO with content that they get written and they throw on their website, right? Meaning, here's all of our content. Let's pretend, I'm going to use round numbers. Let's pretend website has 100 pages of content, and it's built into the site right from the start. Meaning, this 100 pages didn't occur at a posting interval. It just was it came all at the beginning of the site. Now, let's pretend it also started with 0 links. I'm going to use this as an example. I'm going to use this as the example for the stuff I'm going to go over. So, given that concept, right? What makes a bad linking velocity that ends up making your link profile look bad? Here's some things that make it bad that you need to be aware of. Number 1 is getting loads of links at one quick fell swoop as a new website, all right, with a little bit of content and when you're not updating. That's the big one. All right, so let me rephrase that, or let me repeat it. Getting a lot of links in one fell swoop, all right, as a new website, or as a website that has had no activity and that isn't posting content. That's a little bit of a red flag to Google, because to them they're like, how on earth is this website getting all these links without putting all this other content in, this and that out? It doesn't make sense. So to them, that's a little bit of red flag. And this stuff won't penalize you, don't get me wrong. The stuff I'm saying is not going to penalize you. You're not going to get penalized in Google, but you will get, your performance, your ability to move higher up the rankings will be hindered if you do a lot of links at one time and then you're not doing content. That's the first thing, all right? The other item is, another one is, you do a lot of links, you do content, but then all of a sudden you stop a lot of links for, let's say, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and all of a sudden you do another big chunk. And then nothing happens, and then another big chunk. That's also bad, because that is completely making it intentional. It's like, if this website is growing, how come they just have spurts of links that give and goes? To the eyes of Google, it would be not fishy, but it would be like, it'd be curious. So that isn't going to help you. That's not the smartest way to make your links hit. You want them to be spread out. All right. Another item is when you link build too much, meaning, or I'm sorry, too much from one source, meaning your linking velocity is extremely high, but from one type of lead. All right, or there's one type of lead. And go back to the video on linking profiles. Remember where I talk about the type of things that make up a link profile? Pick any of them. So right now I'm going to just talk about the type of link, right? Or the anchor text. This is the easier one. The anchor text is the actual keywords that your link is from another website. That's what anchor text is. Check out that video tutorial as well. But let's pretend that you have a new site, or you just have a site, regardless, right? And you're not on the first page. You're still trying to gain ranking, and all of a sudden you get 100 links all with the same anchor text. You know, they all say your city real estate. You get all these links that say your city real estate, and then prior to that you had no links, or you had only a few of them that had those keywords. To the eyes of Google, they're gonna be like, what the heck, this is too fishy. How could it be that one website can all of a sudden get 100 links that have their keywords being used in their anchor text, but prior to that they only had like 5 or 6? That's a red flag. So I guess the theme I think you might be picking up on is that, or this is actually just an absolute fact you need to understand about link profiles, is your link profile is determined on the basis that you set. You end up creating your own link profile, and your linking velocity is dependent on what patterns you create. Meaning website A and website B are going to have a completely different way of their link velocity is looked at in the eyes of Google, depending on several factors: the age of their domains, the total number of links already existing on their site, the type of links that exist on the site, the amount of content each website updates with. So linking velocity is more of a what's that? It's more precise to the given website's makeup. All right, it's like genetics, right? Everyone has different DNA, right? But we all have a genetic type of code that's the same. But we all have different DNA. We all have different fingertips, but we all have hands and fingers, right? That's how linking velocity is. We're gonna all have a different linking profile, linking velocity makeup, but we all have the same patterns that Google tends to want us to be on. So what are those patterns? Let's just get to that point right now. All right, Google wants to see linking velocity that looks natural. And I said this before, and I say it a lot when I talk about the link profiles, but they want to see stuff that looks natural, meaning your website cannot look like it's trying to manipulate them. And what are the signs of manipulation? Number one is lack of content and a high growth in links. That's the first thing, because they're like, how is this possible if this website does no content but all their links keep growing? That's one of the first signs. Number two is the chunk of time you receive links. If all of a sudden, and I mentioned this earlier, you receive a bunch of links at one time and then it disappears, and then a bunch at another and then disappears, a bunch at another, that's not going to help you. All right. Number three that they look at is going to be, what is it? The type of links that you get at any given time. And I explained that about the anchor text. Same thing with blog comments. One thing that a lot of agents do, and this is a great method of link building when done in proportion, is they'll go to loads of blogs, comment on them to get backlinks, and they'll do that for like 1 week, and then that's it. But they'll do it loads, they'll do a whole large amount of links. And although the links might hit your website at different times because Google has to end up indexing those pages and recognizing the links to you, it's still coming from the same type of link. So the proportion of the type of links pointing to you and the number that you receive at one time matters. All right. So let me try to rephrase that, because that's actually an important point and it's kind of confusing. Let's pretend that all of a sudden you have 500 links from blog comments, right? And then your link profile is made up of 1,000 links, but let's say a majority of them are spread out between blog comments, one-way links, people referencing you in articles, journal entries from maybe a press release. I mean, loads of, let's say it has a variety, but then you receive a big chunk of one type of link that doesn't seem to match your whole overall link profile. That's going to be a little bit of a red flag. And again, I don't mean red flag as in you'll get penalized, but red flag as in it's not going to help you, and it actually will end up hurting your efforts of moving up higher. All right, because it messes up your profile. Picture your linking profile like your reputation. All right, someone could say one bad thing about you, and that'll affect everything else. It'll affect the way they look at you in other ways. Same thing with linking. All right. So overall, I hope you're getting the concept of linking velocity. It's hard for me to keep going into different specific examples because it really matters on one individual website's link profile at first. But in general, I have 1 minute left. Let me just go ahead and just repeat one more important final thing, which is do not link build. Link build, I guess, let's put it like this. If I just met you and you asked me what should my method of link building be, here's what I would say. Do it, treat it like a stock. Treat it exactly like a stock. Start from a small amount, a stock that's worth 0, and let's pretend you want the stock to be worth 1,000, meaning $1,000 in terms of stock value would equal 1,000 links, $1 per link. I would say, how does a stock climb? Normally you have a massive, what happens when a stock climbs super big? It tends to crash pretty hard if it was a bubble, right? So let's just create a good stock. So here's what you want to do. You want to start from a few number of links, all right? Meaning start with 5 links, and then do this, spread them out, maybe 1 a day. And then on week 2, you want to do 10 links, but then do 2 a day, or maybe 3 one day, but still keep them spread out. The whole point is try not to make them in chunks, spread them out with time. And then week 3, you do 20 links, or 30 links. Basically, you could exponentially increase them as time goes by, so long as you have 2 things. You spread them out during the week, and then number 2, you actually are creating content on your site. All right, well, that's everything for this linking velocity. Go to facebook.com/Tizish and ask me if you have any questions about linking velocity, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Hit like and comment as well if you like this. All right, well, that's everything for linking velocity. Take care.